before the awards.
This is b4Nashville Live. Have a question for our guest?
Send it to us via Messenger.
Here's your host, George Davis.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Before Nashville, where we introduce the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today. I got a great guest on tonight. I can't wait to talk to this guy. One of the most important things that I can tell you is he's a vet, and he's got a great story to tell. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about music. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, and we'll do all that coming up here in 30 seconds.
Before Nashville is proudly sponsored by Go-Go Tuners, the go-to tuner for professional and amateur musicians. Get your Go-Go Tuner at gogotuners.com. By Heart to Heart Coffee, the coffee that gives back. Find out more at heart2heartcoffee.com. By Sibby's Apparel, worn by heroes, made with respect. Order yours at sibby'sapparel.com. And by Three Rangers Whiskey, not for the weak or faint-hearted. ThreeRangers.com.
All right. Well, I can tell you this. Looks like the comments are already coming through, so Brian must be on. I'll leave that at that. This guy got joining me tonight. He is a veteran. He is a fantastic fellow. We're going to have a lot of fun. He's going to play some guitar and sing a song, and so we're going to let him do that here in just a little bit. But first, I want to introduce you folks to a man by the name of John Eason. John, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome, man.
I'm sitting here dying laughing that Brian's already on.
Yeah, he's already saying that you and he have the same hair in common. I don't know if you've ever seen it before, Brian, but that's about as far apart as you can get.
I love Brian. Like we were just saying, I'll take a million more just like him. He's the best.
Gosh, he ain't gonna be able to get out of his house to go to work tomorrow with that kind of a compliment. His big. Oh my goodness. So let's talk a little bit about you and kind of find out, like, where were you? Where were you brought up, and where was the childhood lived through?
Okay. Well, I was born in Louisiana. In a little town called Minden. It's just outside of Shreveport, Bossier City. And I grew up for a while in a town called Cotton Valley. It has one flashing light, no real red lights in there. But we moved around quite a bit, too, when I was growing up, and lived in Florida and parts of Mississippi as well, and graduated school there. But I've kind of gone all over the place. I lived in New Hampshire for a while. I was stationed in New Jersey, and I've kind of always felt that tug of the road and that tug for the travel and such.
Absolutely. I mean, did you do a lot of, music when you were growing up? What was that like? Who were you listening to?
Well, funny enough, a lot of it was gospel. When I was young, and my dad was in a band. They did Southern rock and roll and old country. He was in a band called Cooterfoot, and my uncles all play, and they're all killer talented. My dad is one of those people, I feel like, especially when he played a lot, he could pick up anything and play it. He's got an ear for music. My brother's the same thing. He's just super talented. And I tell people, I said, I'm not a guitar player. I'm a guitar beater. And I just beat the hell out of this thing till it makes sounds that I like. But I grew up on gospel on my mom's side. My granddad sang gospel in church. And then my dad played piano and bass and everything church. So I grew up on all that stuff, and old country, Leonard Skinner, Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, all the stuff. So I love all that, and I feel like that's really ingrained in me. And as I got older, I've really fallen in love with blues and things like that. So that's all kind of, I hope, comes across in my music, I guess.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, there's some good stuff in there, and that's as much as I'm gonna tell people right now. I'm gonna let them. They're gonna have to wait a little bit before we just open everything up. So as you're growing up and you're starting to kind of find yourself a little bit in music and things like that. How old were you when you started writing music?
So, I didn't start writing music till I was deployed in Bagram in Afghanistan.
Hmm.
Well, I take that back. Uh, I wrote my first song when I really couldn't even pick a guitar up off the ground, and it had something to do with Indian something. I can't remember. I just remember beating on this red arch top that my dad had, and it played around with that. But when I really started to really have these things in me that I wanted to put on paper was when I was deployed, and I had a old beater guitar, and I just started trying to put stuff down in a book and lyrics that came to me. It was probably more poetry than it was songs at the time, but started to teach myself, and that was when I could barely chord a guitar either. Um, I would strum it. I would kind of be like, oh, yeah, and I would kind of sing a little bit, and then I would have to work my way to another chord, and it would sound bad, and I have to do it again. And that's how I started writing things when I first started.
So do you remember the first song that you did write?
Oh man, I'm trying to think. The first full song that I wrote. Goodness. There was a song one of the ones I remember first that really comes to my mind as a fully conceived song was a song about kids dealing with parents, because both my daughters were born while I was deployed. Well, I'll tell you about it. My oldest daughter was born while I was deployed. My youngest daughter was born while I was home, but then I had to deploy pretty much right afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of on my mind, and I wrote this song about military parents being kind of away from home, and kids hearing reveille and some of the things. And eventually the parent didn't come home again because lost in the military. So it was just, things that I was seeing and dealing with at the time.
Right. Right. That sounds like it's a song that I think would be something good for a lot of the kids, that are from military families.
Yeah, I've got to find it. I need to sit down. It's one of those, when you don't write a lot, you don't, not to say that other people don't do it, but for me, until I started really focusing on it, it was kind of all over the place. So the guys I write with now, I would really love to sit down and bring that idea with them. Zach Hennard and Hal Odell, I write a ton with, and I know they would just eat that kind of idea up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. What is the one thing in your music, because your music has been called outlaw, it's been called southern rock, it's been called this and that, and I love what you say, because you say basically you just call it real, you know, and I love that. But where is the uniqueness in your music that draws people to listen?
The thing that I've been told, and I absolutely love this, and I hope that we continue to do this, is people say they love the stories. And I've always loved that in music, especially country and blues and even southern rock as well. You kind of connect to it because of that, because you hear something you can relate to, and that's like people would always, you hear oh, country music's so sad. Well, shit,
Mhm.
sometimes life's sad.
Yeah.
And sometimes you feel like drinking a beer with your buddies. Well, there's a song for that. But like you said, the thing with it being real is I don't ever want to feel like because something's too serious or it's too dark of a subject that we can't share that song, because I feel like somebody needs to hear that song. And there's people out there who need to hear those things. So that's why I say the thing about it being real is that no matter what, if I feel like a song needs to be heard by somebody, I want to put it out there. And, you know, I want to tell that story forever, whoever needs to hear that story at the time.
Right. With that said, what is one song that you've heard ever and you just go, damn, why did I not write that?
Oh, man. That's almost the same question as what's your favorite song?
Or your favorite child?
that depends on the minute of the day. Man, put me on the spot here. That is a very tough question. I mean, one of the ones that I really love and that has stuck with me as far as artists and songs is In Color. I don't know. Every time I hear that song, I get chills. I just absolutely get chills. But then there's also I'm Not the Devil that Ward Davis wrote. And I absolutely love Ward's version where he's playing piano. And but there's so many great songs. And that's the great thing about the day and age we're living in right now with everybody being able to put out music. It used to be, you know, unless you had a record deal or, you know, you went and heard somebody local, you couldn't really hear the music. And now all these talented artists that would have never been heard 40 years ago, you can go find them. And some of these songs are just absolutely killer.
Yeah.
And, it's so awesome to be in this era right now where so many talented people are available.
And it's so much easier to hear nowadays with DSPs and stuff. I mean, anybody can write a song and put it up on Spotify, it seems like nowadays.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you've got a recording interface and access to it, you can pay $50 to put it up through this site or a percentage of the song through another site. I mean, the availability is there. I mean, they even have WAV file recorders on your phone. And that WAV file is literally all you need to release a song.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The quality of it is good. It sounds good. So, I mean, hey,
Yep.
why not? if you think you got it, why not?
Yep.
I usually I'm rolling through questions quite a bit here, but I see you've got your the other woman there with you.
This is June. That's her name.
There you go. And Brian had requested for you to do a particular song, and we've already talked about it. And I had to do some convincing to get him to do it for you, Brian, but he agreed to it. So. So I'm just gonna let you take off on it, and we'll just let everybody guess what it is. I'm sure they'll figure it out.
I always tell people about how I started doing this song. I was playing in Kentucky one night, and a guy said, "I bet you can't play that." And I said, "What do you want to bet?" He said, "I'll bet you a shot of Jack Daniels." I said, "Well, pour me my shot and give me 5 minutes." And I started playing this song and enjoyed it so much. I played it at a bunch of other shows and then enjoyed playing it so much. I said, well, let's do a cover of it. And so we recorded the cover that Brian heard. And I just absolutely love doing it. It's just a blast. So like you said, let me take off and see what I can do here.
All righty.
I never meant to cause you any sorrow. I never meant to cause you any pain. I only want one time to see you laughing. I only want to see you laughing in the purple rain, purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. I only want to see you bathing in the purple rain. I never wanted to be your weekend lover. I only want to be some kind of friend. Well, baby, I can never steal you from another. It's such a shame my friendship had to end. Purple rain, purple rain. The purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. I only want to see you underneath the purple rain. Well, honey, I know times are changing. It's time we all reach out for something new. That means you too. You say you want a leader, but you can't seem to make up your mind. I think you better close it and let me guide you to the purple rain, purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Purple rain, purple rain. I only want to see you, only want to see you underneath the purple rain.
All right. That was, man, that is crazy. That is crazy.
I love
Oh,
it. It's just a good time.
absolutely. That's awesome, man. That is just unbelievable. And that's one of those songs, you know, I've heard a lot of country artists have done it, but I honestly have to say that that is probably the most country sounding version of that, which I'm not complaining about, that I've ever heard.
Well, you know, we try to get the best of both worlds
Right.
of doing it, and of course, the recorded version has some killer guitar solos. Andrew King at Vibe King Studios produced it, and we had some just killer studio musicians come in, and we put it together. And you know, you got to pay homage to Prince, of course, when you do something.
Yeah.
You cannot take it too far from the original, because the soul of how that comes across is 100% got to be in there. But we wanted to have a little more of the Southern rock and the country twang to it. And I just love doing it. I get absolute rise out of it every time.
Yeah, it's one of those songs that, and if you listen to it on Spotify on the DSPs, there's some difference, you know, because you did put kind of your own twist. You know, that's what they always tell you. If you're going to do a cover, you kind of put your own twist on most of them.
Oh yeah.
And you did. The vocals are a little bit slower or more behind of what Prince did.
Yeah.
No, it was a slow song, but you really, man, you just bring it out. I mean, it's at the front of it is just amazing. So,
Thank you.
yeah, it's something else. So, I mean, good job on that one. So, we're I'm trying to think where to go with this now because I know. Let's talk a little bit about. Well, let me ask you this way first, because I feel like if I ever do this, I always want to make sure, because I have talked to several artists that are veterans, and some of them have suffered from PTS, and so I want to make sure. Are you okay with talking about your experience?
100%. At one point, I didn't feel real comfortable talking about it, but for me, it became a coping thing to be really as open as possible about it and what I went
Mhm.
through and you know what was going on in my mind and things I was dealing with, and that's kind of something that helps me out a lot of times to talk to people about it. So I just try and be as open as possible.
Right. So you kind of, I don't want to get in a lot of before you went into that, because I kind of want to use that as another segment, because it's kind of something that you wouldn't expect. So I don't want to get into that too much, but you did have a reason. You went into the Air Force for 8 years. What did you do in the Air Force? What was and I'm not versed on military language. I apologize. I've got all kinds of military guys on here that are about to call me out. But but what was what do they call that?
Well, in the Air Force, it's an AFSC,
Okay.
and I was a 2T2X1, which would be the Air Force, but in general terms, it was logistics, was what I did. So when I was stateside, it was all about loading passengers and cargo and things like that. Sometimes it was supervising the aircraft and doing things like that. There's a lot of different jobs that fall under it. But then, of course, doing the logistics side, we were one of those things. We were on the flight line, out in the middle of everything, making sure that people got where they needed to go, whether it be downrange, back home, pallets of ammunition, and then also, when people passed away, we were loading them on the aircraft and sending them back to their loved ones. So that was definitely a very tough part of dealing with that.
Right. Um, what was I guess what was the worst experience?
Um, I think one of the most, I'll call it worst, and traumatic things was when we were over in Bagram, and the numbers are a little fuzzy for me, but I think it was 42 guys went down on a helicopter in Kabul, and when they brought them in, we had to load 42 people on the aircraft and send them home.
Mm.
And it was a flight line lined with people to send them off. And, not to go too far into a lot of details, but there wasn't a lot in those cases.
Right.
There wasn't a lot to send home to loved ones and such. And that's not really my story to share, but that was definitely a very tough day for all the military, for all the people there, for everybody across, the entire United States.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the toughest things that I think um, anybody in the military can go through. And I'm saying this from a non-military viewpoint. So guys, forgive me. I will tell you, do you know Scotty Hastings?
So I've not got to meet Scotty yet, but I've followed Scotty since I really came to town. I'm going to say I love his story because it's such an inspirational story,
Mm-hmm.
and love his music, and have corresponded a little bit online, but I've not got the pleasure to meet him yet in person, but it is on my list.
Well, you may not want to. I got military guys. You know how military guys are. So I'm going to preface it with that. But this was Scotty's comment a while ago. Didn't want to be in the real military. LOL. Every branch picks on every branch.
That joke. I've heard Chair Force a couple billion times, I think. So.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I remember when I went into my recruiter's office and everything, and you know, I didn't know a lot about the military. I didn't come from a big military family where a bunch of people had served, and I just had really high ASVAB scores, and so they said, "Yeah, do this." Okay, you know, I'm just kind of going where people were pointing me to, because I had it in my mind to go join the Marines. Mm-hmm. And so I said, no, join the Air Force. And so my original job was supposed to be nuclear weapons, because I scored like 98 across the board on the ASVAB. And ended up, because I paid for my own college or had student loans, I got DQ'd from the nuke school because they said I might have been bribable. So, yeah, it's but he told me, the recruiter, get off track here. He said, "Oh yeah, you'll never deploy. Never deploy." Okay, well, whatever. But when I got retrained into logistics, I think the day I got to my first base, they said, "Hey, you're leaving in 3 months. You're going to Iraq." Oh, okay. And off we went. So.
Wow. Yeah, they're kind of. They kind of like politicians, I guess.
They try to get butts in the seats for sure.
Exactly. Scotty says he'll meet you soon. So
hell yeah.
That's great. And Tyler is I think Tyler was Marine. He says at least you're not Coast Guard.
One of my favorite people in the world. I got to do some music with him back for a show called Bands of Brothers, and I believe Tim was a Marine mortar guy, and Tim's just the best. He's kind of crazy, but I love it. He played like death metal and metal. When I met him, he'd been out. He had long red hair and just killer musician and killer player, but he was in the Marines, and I just loved him to death. So
yeah, I'm not going to ask that question, because if I do, Tyler's going to hunt me down, and he knows where I live. So I started to ask a question, but it was going to come across sounding really bad, so I'm going to skip that one.
Was it?
What's that?
It wasn't about crayons, was it?
No, actually, that was mentioned.
We all know those Marines got a favorite flavor.
Right. Yeah, I was actually, I'm just going to do it. Tyler, he'll call me and holler. But do you ever think that they base your entrance into the military by your intelligence?
100%.
I'm not picking on anybody, Scotty and Tyler. I'm going to have the whole cotton picking U.S. military banging on my door.
I mean, when you go, you know, to the recruiting office and MEPS, you go and you take your initial, and then you go and take the real ASVAB for your actual qualification. Or at least that's what happened with me. Mm-hmm. And they'll tell you, based off of your score, which forces you can qualify to go into. And if you don't get high enough, you're not allowed to go into certain forces.
Right.
So, I mean, 100%. And is it right? Probably not. But
well, you know, I gotta say, and a lot of these guys know that Jeff's on here. Hey Jeff, how you doing, buddy? Um, I tried to get in the military, and I took my ASFAB, and I had Marine recruiters and I had Air Force recruiters, so I didn't know exactly what that was telling me.
All I've ever known with it, because we all like picking at each other, and that's the best thing about it. In the military, if you don't have thick skin, you're not going to survive real long. You got to give as good as you get. And we love picking at each other. And especially when you get deployed, it'll get rough real fast because you're just trying to see what kind of reactions you can get out of each other. But the one thing that I can always say is I don't care where you served, what you did, whether it be Marine, Air Force, Coast Guard, Navy, or now Space Force, is that you always had each other's back and you always loved your brothers and sisters. And if I'm not picking on you, I probably don't like you. So
Right. And that's the truth. I mean, that's the truth. See, Tyler says, and with love though, and when deployed, you got it, Rip. It's to make up for it. I'll leave that one. Scotty, you guys are going to hit it off great. Everybody knows the Army infantry is the only MOS. Everyone else is just support. Oh, these guys are something else, man. They are something else. So, and speaking of that, because I do want to play, Tyler says, ask him about Rippets.
Oh, God. Rippets. So you can get Rippets here at the Dollar Tree, but they are not the same Rippets because I've tried one here and it does not hit the same as it did overseas because we used to get these cases of them and you got so many of them issued. And I'm going to tell you what, you want to talk about making a drug deal to get stuff, Rippets was one of them. And I remember our go-to get up and go for me was I would drink enough out of a red Gatorade, pour a Rippet into it, and then chug that. And you talk about go-go juice, that will get you going. Because those things, they'll put Red Bull all to shame.
Right. Yeah, I have to. Scotty says he still drinks them, but I have to stay away from those things. They do weird things to me.
I haven't met a military person yet that didn't have a caffeine addiction of some type. So
yeah. Well, mine is coffee. Something about the energy drinks I just cannot do. I don't know why. There's just something odd about them. But I mean, it's shown up here tonight that there is an amazing band of brothers in the guys in the military. It doesn't, like you said, it doesn't matter what what branch you're in, what your duty is, or anything else. When the fighting starts, you guys are always ready to be at each other's back.
Definitely. 100%. And
that going through that kind of stuff, like we talked earlier, it'll mess your head up. Scotty's story is just amazing. He's by the grace of God, he's here.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And there's just so many of those guys. As a matter of fact, and I'll say this only because I have so many military guys on here. I found out yesterday, a guy that he used to work in radio all over this area. And I stopped at a place that does a lot of stuff with military. The guys, her husband was in the military. Her sons were in the military. But I was stopped by talking to her because she's helping us out with this Freedom Jam we're having at Lake Wapapello, and he asked me if I knew the guy, and I said, yeah. And it turns out he was in the military. I didn't realize that, but they found him apparently dead from suicide yesterday.
It just breaks my heart. Breaks my heart hearing stories like that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's been a long time that it's not been dealt with properly from way back before, you know, I was in the military, and most people around that, you know, there's never been a proper process of teaching people how to deal with what you go through. And I don't know if there is a proper way besides, you know, just being there for each other. But I mean, I just want everybody to know out there right now, if you can hear my voice, that you can reach out and talk to me before you do something like that. And we've all, I think, guys who struggle with PTSD and depression have had those moments. But, you know, there's light at the end of that tunnel, man. You know, right. Brother, sister, so on and so forth. And not even just military people. You know, there's lots of people dealing with stuff with you know, PTSD from other things. And it's the same thing I'll say to those people is, you know, there's somebody out there who understands, and there's somebody out there who wants you to be here. And right. It's never the answer. Never.
Absolutely. And that's one of the big things that, you know, I support that stuff. And, you know, I support our veterans 1,000%. But I think if I ever changed my careers and got out of radio, which I do during the day, I would probably be doing something along those lines. Working with veterans to try to help them, be it integration, but be in a position to where if you need somebody to talk to, you call me. I mean, and people can do that. If you're out there and just like John said, if you need somebody to talk to, message me. I mean, I've not been there. I'm not gonna lie. I've not been there, but I'm somebody that can listen and hopefully help you out at that point, and direct you to somebody that can help you better than I can, but I can be an ear for anybody. You know, that's what we can all do.
Yeah.
You know, so I just want to encourage everybody on that. That's actually opened up a big discussion. Scotty's, you know, he knows a lot of guys that's died. He said, I know more people that have died from suicide than from fighting the Taliban. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's not an organization called 22 a day for nothing. I mean, it is absolutely out of control. And you know, that it's one of those things that we just got to keep fighting that fight. You know, we're all still fighting that fight, and we just got to keep doing it and being there for each other in every way that we can, because there's too many good people going way too soon. You know, it's just horrible to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris at Forgotten Coast Canine, they answer their phones 24/7. So there's a lot of folks out there you can call.
Thank you.
So just want to encourage everybody to do that. And as a matter of fact, I mean, as you said, you've been there, you're still there, because it's almost like diabetes. It's something you never get over.
No, I don't think it is something you ever fully get over. It is a fight that you fight every day. Sometimes you're in the light, sometimes you're in the dark, and you always keep fighting towards the light. And I guess, you know, you hope you have more sunny days than dark days with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to bring anybody down with that, but that's just a conversation I feel like we needed to have tonight to let people know. But you've got a song out, and as we were talking earlier, it's kind of the second half of a a couple of songs.
Yeah, the first song I released when I came to town, and I was told not to release it because it was too heavy, it was too dark, was called Gun From My Hands. And the whole point of the song, and it's still honestly one of my most played songs to this day, is it's, like I said, called Gun From My Hands, but it was me trying to give people a window into what I felt like I dealt with and what went on in my mind and my soul dealing with PTSD. And then, you know, I really feel like music is what is kept me from hurting myself and taking that darker road. So, you know, coming into that, I sat down with Zach Hennard and Hal Odell, and I kind of wanted to write that song, letting people know that, man, you may not be able to see a light. You may not think that light even exists anymore. And all you know is darkness and pain and struggle. But there's somebody out there that knows exactly what you're going through right now. Has been in your same seat in your exact spot, has probably drank as much whiskey, has chased the painkillers and other drugs and things down the same tunnels you have. And they understand exactly what you're going through. And that's where we wrote that song, Brother, I've Been There. And it was just really to let people know that there are people who understand what you're going through. You do not have to continue into this darkness, that there is light and somebody can show you or point you in the way or reach down a hand into that darkness and pull you back into it.
Absolutely. Let's just give them, let's let them listen to that song, because I think that's a good song that people need to hear. Just to kind of, it's a good, it's a morale booster. If you listen to the words, you got to really listen to the words, and then we'll come back. We'll talk about it some more afterwards. All right. So here's John Eason with the Brother, I've Been There on Before Nashville.
Do you stalk the silence like a hound hunts its prey? Can't keep your mind from racing as it runs away. Do the demons chase you till you're just too tired to sleep? So you numb the world away, but you lose yourself. You're in too deep. Brother, I've been there. I'm now in the darkness now, well, I guess tired. Brother, we ain't got to stay there. I start with the first step, the spark's gonna catch on fire. Oh, brother, I've been there. Are you scared without crutches? Scared you're gonna fall? Your troubles might be heavy, but you don't have to drag them all. Do you feel alone in the middle of a crowded room? All you want is to get away, so you lose yourself in that same dark tomb. Brother, I've been there. I'm now in the darkness now, well, I guess tired. Brother, we ain't got to stay there. I start with the first step, the spark's gonna catch on fire. Oh, brother, I've been there. Oh, brother, I've been there. I know you can't see it, and I know you can't feel it, but freedom, sweet, sweet freedom, is in your reach. beach. Brother, I've been there. I'm out in the darkness now, well, I guess tired. Brother, we ain't got to stay there. I'll start with the first step, the spark's gonna catch on fire. Oh, brother, I've been there. 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 Brother, I've been there.
All right, John Eason and Brother I've Been There. Man, that's just a song that just wow. The opening of it, it kind of reminded me of oh gosh, shoot. Trying to think of his name now, but Wicked Game did the song Wicked Game. Golly, what is, I knew it today. I was thinking about that. It'll come to me in a minute, but it sounds like his style, you know, just that Wicked Game kind of very haunting, but yet kind of a Chris Isaac. That's who it is. Chris Isaac.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks, Brian.
Brian's on top.
Yeah, he's sitting there Googling everything I say, I think, every night, because he jumps in there pretty quick, and I know he ain't that bright. No, but as we were talking earlier, I mean, I see that song being in a broader realm, and because I just think I think it's perfect for that. We talked about it, and I told you I feel like it needed to be in a movie.
I would absolutely love that. I'll tell you a little bit. When we released that song, I was very torn. Not on releasing it because I wanted people to hear it, but I never want to profit off of something like that, of sharing that story and other people's pain and other people's stories. And so I was so torn because they're like, wow, we want to do this or we want to do that. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. But at the end of the day, what really came across it is that I'm like, I want people to hear this, and the broader audience and the more people it touches. And people did reach out, not even just military people when we released it. Because we asked people to share pictures and stories with us, and reach out, and the stories were just horrendous of things that people were dealing with, and stories of struggles they had been through and come out the other side of. And that is my only hope, is that, you know, we talked about some of the things I'm in talks with about that song right now. But my only hope with that song is never for profit, is that it reaches the ears that need to hear it. That the person who's struggling, it touches, or the person who has somebody in their life who's struggling, they hear it and it does something for them. And I think that's most artists when you put out a song like that, is that you just hope it gets to the ears for the people it'll help. Because that's just that is really a part of me, to put out there to hopefully help people.
Yeah. I mean, and that's after we talked and you told me that, the more I thought about it, I thought, you know, that's still a big help, because, you know, depending on if it did get in a movie or something, you're still going to get, you know, income off of it that you can put toward, you know, a foundation or something that you're passionate about, you know, and and it just makes it so much easier,
Yeah, definitely.
you know. And even then, it will continue to help people because that's going to be something that I could see it being in a movie and people picking up on it, and it really takes off. To be honest with you.
I would love that. I absolutely would. I mean, one
So
of my goals for a long time, I always, and I don't want to sound preachy, I don't want to go down this road, but I never like to see the, oh, take a picture of me as I do this, type of deal. But this is something I am very, very passionate about. And it's not something you'll see me, as I get involved with it, unless it's something like Freedom Jam and, we're out playing music to support and push Freedom Jam. It will never be, about glorifying me. It's going to be about bringing awareness 100% and how I can help do that. The other direction just feels so icky, I guess.
yeah, absolutely. Yes. I've got messages popping up here. I'm trying to respond back to. Now, let me see. Hang on just a second here. I'm answering Stephen. I think he's somebody that you know, Stephen Conan.
I'm sure I do.
Um, there's so many people. I mean, I see new people all the time, and I think that's awesome. And I really love to see these new people back on.
My problem, I can't remember my own name some days.
I hear you. I hear you.
That's most days. Oh, wait, what is your name again?
Yes. You go to sign something, you have no idea, and if I forget it, I just scribble it on and let them mess with it.
That's why it's already printed on the picture before I signed them.
Exactly. All right. We're gonna take a little turn here. Hang on, okay? So there's a rumor going around about you that I'm going to call a duck, okay? You're a big, burly looking guy that, probably most people would be a little afraid of if they ran into in a dark alley. But you cook. And I'm not talking about putting a hot pocket in a microwave like Brian does. You actually cook. You're a chef.
I do. That was when I graduated high school. I went to culinary school, so I have a culinary arts degree.
And that led you to coming up with your own barbecue sauce. Is that still available?
So right now it's only available at my shows because of where I produce it here in Tennessee, and I don't have a place where I can produce it under a commercial licensing or a commercial kitchen.
Okay.
I cannot technically sell it online, but I still do make it. I sell it at shows, and my granddad, he taught me how to scald hogs, and we used to cook whole hog. And my dad, he's a griller, and we done all that stuff, and then culinary school. And my goal has always been to being different sounds, but I didn't want to do the same old t-shirts and stuff. I wanted to share a real part of me with somebody when they came to a show. And to me, that was really doing that. Is I made this. I created this for you. Here you go. And you get to take this home and try it. And I put my love of cooking and life into this, and I spent a lot of time making it. And that's what I wanted to do with that barbecue sauce, which is now turned into an entire lifestyle brand,
Mhm.
based off of travel and being on the road and just life in general, called Red River Nomad. And we just relaunched that actually, at the beginning of the year, and are really starting to push that out there.
Okay. Well, as we
Well,
started talking about that, things started blowing up. All right. So, now March 3rd, you're going to be in St. Louis,
I am, yeah, at
two Shamrocks, and Tim is on here. He's the owner. And as we were talking about the whole barbecue sauce, let me make sure I don't say this wrong, but I think it was his only comment when you said, "I don't have a commercial kitchen." Tim says, "I have a commercial kitchen."
heck yeah,
So he's there to help you out.
hell yeah. Well, we'll have to have a conversation, Tim.
There you go. There you go. Tim says for sure. So there you go.
and and
Scotty wants to know if you have any spicy.
I do. So I make four types right now. I make my regular, which is kind of just a sweet and tangy, kind of classic. I make a hot, which is really that cayenne pepper. It just kind of tickles your tongue, I say. And then I make a Diablo, which, if you like real spicy, this isn't crazy. Like, it's not any of these ridiculous pepper sauces you see at places like Burn Your Butthole or anything. But it does have ghost pepper. It's got roasted habanero. And what'll end up happening as you eat that Diablo, it just gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And I remember when I first started making it, me and my buddy Bobby were making some, and we were eating wings with it. And we're both sitting here sweating our asses off because it's so hot. But we were smiling the entire time. And then your nose is running, and then you're wiping your forehead, and then you take a bite, and then you do the whole thing again, and then you eat some more. So yes, I do have some spicy.
All right. Well, good deal. And
we have Carolina mustard too. That was the fourth one.
okay. So you got it all covered.
I try to have all. I'm working on a couple more. I know the Alabama white sauce is real big, and I don't know a ton about it, but I'm working on it. And then, of course, back where I come from down in Louisiana is the comeback sauce, which is not a barbecue sauce, more like a dipping sauce. And
Right.
I want to do one of those, and then I want to make my own hot sauce. So all those are kind of in the works at the moment. One of these days, when I find enough free time to play around with it.
Gotcha. Well, see, there you go. You got I have a feeling if you bring some of that to Two Shamrocks, it's going to be sold out.
I'm definitely going to bring a couple cases.
So, and Tim may be plotting a barbecue dish, so that would be sweet as well. And maybe
Yeah.
use a little. I gotta admit, I used to love the hot stuff, but the older I get, the wimpier I get.
So I love hot and I love spice, but I have friends who love the really, really spicy stuff, but I've never understood eating food that was so spicy you couldn't enjoy it.
Right.
So I haven't gone down that road and never will, of making something like that. But I wanted it to be hot, but still have a lot of flavor to it. So that was really my goal with when we did our hot. But I mean, I just don't want to eat something that I have to chug a gallon of milk afterwards and then go to the hospital. So
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. I've gotten to the point my wife can look at me and tell if it's too hot because the sweat beads up under my eyes. And she knows at that point it's too spicy. You know, it's like, I got to admit, I go to Buffalo Wild Wings and I can handle their mild, but it seems like anything over that, I start beating up. What is this?
Like I'm addicted right now. I had him in New Mexico at my buddy Pork Chop's place down there. He's got a place called Country Kitchen, and they make green hatch chilies down in New Mexico. They grow them there, and so you know, sawmill gravy is big in the South, but they make a sawmill gravy that they put a green hatch chili sauce over the top of. Well, it's spicy, but it's just spicy enough on top. And if you're ever down in Alamogordo, go to our Country Kitchen down there and get their biscuits and gravy with the green hatch chili. And then they make a cinnamon roll that's this big.
Oh my gosh.
And we didn't know it when we ordered it. I'm thinking, oh, I'll get a cinnamon roll and, you know, be good to go. Yeah, we ate on that thing for like 2 days.
Exactly. And the icing on the top, you can just feel your blood sugar creeping up.
Oh yeah, that's good times.
Yeah.
I need a little pick up.
Exactly. Man, I tell you, that is something else. So if you want to pick up the hot sauce hot sauce, if you want to pick up the barbecue sauce, go to one of John's shows. He will be in at Two Shamrocks in O'Fallon, St. Louis area. And you can pick up the barbecue sauce there after you listen to some great music. He'll be there. Is it March the 3rd?
March 3rd. Yeah, I think 7 to 10 is what we've got set up. We'll be promoting, of course, on online. I know Brian's already got an event going, he said.
Yeah, he's already set up something, and so I mean it's going to be a fun time. I can tell you right now. See, I want to make sure there's a lot of comments on here, man. I tell you, I have never had this many comments before. I don't think.
I did see who you were talking about, Stephen Goldsby. That's my cousin.
Okay. Yeah. And then we've got, I guess there's another Stephen on here, and I think I'm guessing he's from around that area because he said something about St. Charles up in there has a barbecue shop that does or a store that will carry local barbecue sauces, so to speak.
Oh, really?
So
I'll have to check that out. We're working on through that Red River Nomad brand. We're trying to looking for funding and getting things going, because you can send your recipes into some of these big bottling services, and then they will produce it and ship it out to different places. So that's of course the long-term goal, is to create it and be able to send it to them and be able to ship nationally and put it out there for mass consumption and such, for people to see and share and have. And I mean, of course, I'd love to have it in different restaurants and places that you go to. I mean, I've been to a lot of places that I play, and in fact, the place in Alamogordo, like I said, my buddy Pork Chop, he uses it down there. He uses the Diablo on a burger down there. But I just would love to have it at places that I've visited and played and gone to, because that's my favorite part about being on the road is you're kind of collecting these memories. And, you know, I played this brewery. Well, let me bring some beer home. I played this distillery. Let me bring this home. Or I played this restaurant, or I walked in this store. And, you know, I have friends who they don't get to go out on the road. So I like to bring that stuff home and share it with them. And, you know, so bringing those different things home, I feel like that's bringing a part of the road back home to share with people. So it'd be great if people came to a show or they ate at a restaurant and they're like, hey, I got this. And, you know, this is this cool experience that I went through. So.
Right. Well, and the thing that I like, a lot of restaurants now, they put they'll put some, or they'll put on their menu kind of what all's on a burger or something like that. So you get something like that on a burger, and then they'll see that, Renegade barbecue sauce, or made with Renegade barbecue, and so they'll start asking about it.
Yeah.
And to me that just gets, really. It's cool to see that. I love that's the way, and people ask you, what's Renegade? Where does it come from? And you get a whole backstory about it.
Well, it's funny that Renegade thing was the first band I tried to form when I was starting to get out of the military. We're going to be called Renegade. And I'll be honest, when you get into this music thing and you start doing stuff, a lot of times you get caught up in playing a character, and you get caught up in this. I got to be a badass. I'm a badass. And then you do it for a little while and you go, you know what? I think I better just be me. Right. And what Renegade started at, and I still love the idea of Renegade, going outside of what people are doing. And it's kind of like the outlaw thing. Outlaw country has become its own genre of music. But people get so caught up in the word outlaw that they try and make it into about breaking the laws. And it really has never been about breaking the laws. It's been about breaking rules and stereotypes in music of, I'm going to make music however I want to make music. And that's the big thing that people need to remember about that. And so that's one of the reasons we got away from Renegade in itself, was just to say, this is barbecue sauce. And the same thing we go with when I say the music's real. If you want to put it into this or you want to put it into that, then you put it where you feel like it belongs. But to me, this is what it is. Right.
And that is one of the best explanations right there. Okay, so we have another thread here going. Do you like Scottish eggs?
I do. In fact, I ate some the other night downtown at the pub over in the Gulch.
Well, Tim's restaurant is known for their Scottish eggs, 2 Shamrocks. So there you go, Tim. You got you already know what to fix him when he gets there. Just whip him up some Scottish eggs, and he'll be good to go.
I remember the first time I had them at a Renaissance fair in Pennsylvania, and I went, "What is a Scottish egg?" And they said, "It's an egg fried in sausage." Come on, give me some. Yeah, I was like, can't go wrong with that.
Absolutely. Bring it on. We're ready. Throw just a little sprinkle of maybe 3 Rangers on top of that. They ain't no telling how that could come out.
Oh, I mean, I'm looking forward to when I come up there getting to try the 3 Rangers. So I'm just thinking I might have to buy some extra and do a 3 Rangers barbecue sauce.
Oh,
we've all had Jack Daniels. We've all had all the other barbecue sauces. So I might just have to try and throw something together with some 3 Rangers. We'll do a special run.
I've got this is their bottle. Now, I don't know if that's too big. Let me put that up there. If that's too big to fill with barbecue sauce, but I've got about 6 of these.
We could probably fill them. That's a lot.
So, yeah. So, I mean, you could put them in those and then put them out, for 3 Rangers, but don't give them to Dale. Whatever. Don't give them to Dale. Give them to Tim. I guess you can give one to Brian because he'll be butthurt if you don't. But Jeff says you haven't had the best until you've had 3 Rangers. It is good whiskey. It's a rye whiskey, but man, it's good.
I've heard great stories so much, and I got the chance. I've not got the chance to meet in person, but I got the chance over text and message to meet the guys from 3 Rangers and Tim. And I could say honestly, since meeting Brian and even Tim and the guys, so supportive and just hey, whatever you need, whatever we can do. And Brian's been that way since day one. Excuse me, with Freedom Jam. And then he's been on me to get up there to Tim's place, and so we finally got it worked out. And you know, I'm so excited to come up and play that show, because I know all these vets are going to show up, and I know all these brothers and sisters and folks are going to be there, and I'm just so excited to play a show for all those folks.
Yeah, it's a great time. We have, you know, we have a lot of vets in the audience, and then we've got vets that volunteer to help us out, you know, because putting on a show like that, it takes quite a few people to get it done on the day of.
Sure.
So we're very appreciative of all of our volunteers and everything else. Whoops, I'm beating the crap out of my mic again. I don't know why I need to get a different mic stand on this thing, I guess. Scotty did say he's going to come by one of your shows and pick up some barbecue sauce, and
hell yeah.
So you may have to hook him up with that.
I'll drop by one night when he's playing or something and hand deliver it.
There you go. And then you can have a beer afterwards.
Right? Hell yeah.
Or 10.
No.
And I, you know, depending on where you're at, maybe you can sneak in the bottle of Three Rangers and let Scotty try it too.
I've got a bunch of flasks. Got a bunch.
Yep, that'll do it. Trust me, been there, done that.
Fits right down in that boot. Right there.
Exactly. If you see me out wearing boots, you know why. Scotty says he's at the Moxie this Saturday, 11:30 to 2:30.
Hell yeah.
So there you go. I don't know if he'll have the Three Rangers by then, Scotty, but
I won't have it by then.
I'm sure he'll have shows around town after March 3rd. So you guys can
figure out.
Exactly. So tell us about most of the guys on here have heard your music, but tell me about your music, where it can be found.
Well, I guess anywhere you stream music right now. There's so many streaming services these days, you can't even name them all. You got Spotify, which most musicians are not a big fan of because of what they pay you for streams, but Spotify, Amazon, Apple, YouTube, and I use Smith Music to distribute through, and they even put us on most of your local jukeboxes. So if you go into a place and they have those AMIs and things like that, you can probably find my music on your local jukebox.
Well, I mean, damn.
Yeah, it tickles me to death to walk into a place and say, hey, you want to hear something? Makes me feel like I'm something.
Well, I have to remember that because we got a couple of bars that we go to that have those. Tim asked if it's on Touch Tunes.
It should be on there. I haven't checked the Touch Tunes in a while because usually if I'm out, I'm playing music, but it should be on those and MIs. Smith Music pushes them out to everything on there. And if it's not on there, let me know and I'll go yell at them.
All righty. There you go, Tim.
Mel.
Yeah. We'll get it taken care of. Tim, you check that out and see, and if they're not, then get a hold of John here, and he'll take care of it. I'm sure. Well, you guys already talked, so you don't have to go through Brian. we try to cut Brian out as much as possible.
I know Brian was saying he was going to try and play it on the jukebox at Two Shamrocks. So I don't know if he got to do it or not. So maybe they don't. I don't know.
Yeah, Brian, I don't know what you're talking about with Matchmaker there, but okay. I think somebody else is having Three Rangers and they've had a little much.
I mean, I've had quite a few of these old elks by the time that we're finishing this. I'm jealous that you're drinking the Three Rangers and I don't have any.
I don't have any more, so I'm gonna be in trouble when that one's gone. And I can't get it around here. It's almost like I used to work in Kentucky and radio, and there was a beer that a friend of ours loved. It was out of Pittsburgh, and he Yingling beer. Well, you couldn't find it in Missouri, but I was right across the state line from Tennessee, so I felt like a bootlegger. I'd have to go over and put like 4 or 5 cases in my car and bring them back to Missouri. And so that's the way I feel like with Three Rangers. I'm gonna have to go over to Illinois to get it, I guess. So I keep telling them, guys, you got to get it in Missouri. And Jeff, thank you, buddy. Jeff's drinking Three Rangers right along with me. He's probably got more than I got.
We'll get a song where somebody can ride along in the car and play "Eastbound and Down, Rolling Up and Trucking."
Exactly. Ooh,
You can be the bandit.
there you go. I'll do it. It'll be in Missouri next Monday. Oh, Yingling will be in Missouri next Monday. All right. Well, that's good to know because usually we go down to Nashville, we bring it back. So because we can't find it nowhere else. So next Monday. But just got to get Three Rangers. Tim, we got to get Three Rangers into Missouri. But that's my goal. I know it's going to be up there on March 3rd, so I may have to go ahead and come on up and hang out that night. And get some Three Rangers and some new barbecue sauce. I'm always open for barbecue sauce. Oh, Tim carries. You carry Three Rangers, Tim? Uh-oh, looky there. So I'm finding out stuff new all the day, or all the time. So maybe I've had too many. Maybe I need to cut back. So they can go anywhere. What's that?
That nobody likes a quitter.
I know, right? Right. It's like they say, you know. But see, we got the DSPs. You can get the music on any of the DSPs. If they want to find you, as far as find out more about you and what's going on, I'm gonna get back over to where that's at here, and I'll put your website up on here. John Eason Music.
Yep.
We'll put that up there and leave it up for a while.
And then, of course, the Facebooks and stuff are under there. You know, we all hate social media, but it's a necessary evil.
I know it's something you got to do it, even though you don't want to. But I have to do it too. So it's sucks.
Of everything right now. It just is.
Yeah, if you don't have it, I mean, if you're in the music business in any way, shape, form, or fashion, you've got to have it.
You just you can't be independent and not have it these days.
Oh no,
I would say even mainstream. You know, that's what they base things off of, is how many views you got, how many fans you got on this, because they're not taking a chance on you unless you got 10 million fans and 50 million streams before they sign your record deal. So, yeah.
Exactly. They know what they're doing.
Oh, well, this is a solid investment.
Yeah, exactly. We can do this when, you know, Priscilla Block, she came out of nowhere and they
Goodness gracious.
Got her from TikTok. And
I remember following Priscilla Block, and well, she was in a group called the Broadway Broads with Taylor Austin Dye and her, and my brain is a little whiskey fog right now. With another, and they had a great group, and then all of a sudden Priscilla just boom, and that's what happens a lot in this industry, is right place, right time. Just
oh yeah,
got you there, and everybody puts in a ton of work, and we say that right place, right time, but that's because you put in 10 years, 15 years, 10,000 hours, 20,000 hours of work to get into it. Not to take anything away from Priscilla. And Taylor is right on her tail right now, just killing it out. So
yeah, Taylor's one of our Freedom Jam alumni.
yeah.
And she was very well received at the last Freedom Jam. People just, I mean, loved her. Just
Hell of a show.
Just
hell of a show.
and it was just her and Ben. You know, that's all that was up there. She didn't have a full band. So
she's absolutely. I mean, like I said, I saw her and Priscilla, and then at Margaritaville on Broadway, and they were doing the Broadway broads. They had on trucker hats and fake wigs, and I thought, holy shit, this is so good, and you just never know. And they're killing.
Yeah, I mean, the whole social media thing. I mean, back to that, and that's exactly how they were found. I mean, you know, and I'm with you. I think Taylor's going to be right on her heels. She's getting a lot of notice right now.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
She, I know. She's got one song that people are, you know, using for. Actually, she's got 2 or 3 people are using for a sound on TikTok now.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I hadn't seen that, but
yeah,
TikTok's big right now. If you can get that.
Yeah, I'm on that. Unfortunately, I haven't done anything with it much, but I'm on it.
I'm on there. I don't know how to work it or how it does, but I upload a video every Wednesday. You know, do the Wednesday thing, and I hope I hashtag things right, but who knows?
Yeah. It's so hard to tell. I read one time where 15 hashtags is about the bare minimum you can have.
The bare minimum is 50. I just feel like if I'm not dancing, you know, I'm not doing it right, and I don't dance. So
Exactly.
Maybe I need to take some clothes off on there or something. I don't know.
You know, and that's funny because I was talking to somebody the other night, and I said, that's what I think I'm gonna do. You know, you got all these girls on there that's half naked. I'm just gonna get on there with a t-shirt, you know, and my boxer shorts on, and just, you know, see if maybe I can start getting more followers that way.
I mean, I guess whatever works, you know.
Yeah. May have started OnlyFans after that. Heck, who knows? Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. Yeah, everybody's telling me no.
I'm gonna start OnlyFans. It's just gonna be brushing my beard.
There you go.
Oil into my beard.
You would be surprised how much money you'd make off of that with women nowadays.
Listen, if that'll make money, I'll start it. If I get enough people come to me and comment and say, "Start this," I'll do that.
I think your music career would supplement that. At least according to TikTok, from things I've seen. Don't worry, guys, I ain't gonna do that. I'll leave it up to John to go in there and just brush and comb his beard, and then these ladies can go nuts on that. If you have to have a manager for that, you let me know. I can manage that part of it. And trust me,
a little more to the left, John.
You got a flyer out there, man. You got to get that back in. Come on.
You need more beard wax.
Exactly. Put the oil in. Well, John, has been a blast, man. I've enjoyed talking to you, hanging out with you, and just having a good conversation.
Heck yeah.
So you guys go check John out on all the streaming and the social media. Go to his website and And Jeff Hastings says you have to let the ladies brush your beard.
Oh, well, if they want to come brush it, then come on.
that would take OnlyFans over the edge, probably. That'd put their servers down, I'm afraid.
You got to pay for video streams. That's pay-per-view.
Yeah, exactly. Pay-per-view. There you go. There you go. But y'all go check John out. Now, I had your, do I still have it pulled up? Yeah, I've got your website pulled up here. You're going to be in Memphis on Valentine's Day at Tin Roof.
The 14th, is that the one?
Yeah, February 14th.
I don't have no Valentine, so I don't remember what day Valentine's is.
You just remember that you got to be there on the 14th.
I know I'm going to be there. So yeah, I will be in Memphis on the 14th, and then heading down through Mississippi. We're working on some shows down that way. If everything works out, I'm going to play down for a senior facility down there. I always love doing that. And just some good old folks who still love good music. So I'm going to play for them, and then head down to Natchez, Mississippi to play at Smoots, and great Americana bar, and they're on the Americana Triangle down there, and they love good music and good stuff down there in Natchez. So we're going to be playing down there, then heading back to Memphis on the 19th too.
Right, and then that finishes out this month, or February, unless he gets something else, and then March. Is it March 2nd or March 3rd?
March 3rd. March 3rd going to be coming up, and I am going to try and get some more things around the area while I'm up there. I've already got the team looking at it and trying to get some things going. And when I say we, because I say we a lot, it's because I have so many people who work in the background to make this happen, because I am not good at anything but really the artist side of things. My brain is so tired, and everything. And Diana Dar, she does all my PR, and she helps do a lot of management stuff for me, and marketing, and probably a million other things that I probably can't mention. And Anna Young, she does some booking for me, and Kelly Phillips, and I got so many people that do stuff for me that make this possible, because I'm all the time saying, man, I just make my brain work to do all this stuff. So I put it in the hands of the people that can really do that stuff, and I just leave it at it, and we just keep on rolling down the road.
Hey, it takes a team to do this job too, man. I mean, I talk to a lot of artists, and I'm like, man, it's hard to do by yourself.
It is. I mean, really? We used to have a booking group that got together, and we would try and put together venues, and we would call with false names, saying, "Oh, I'm so-and-so," calling on behalf of so-and-so, to try and book venues for people. And we had made up record companies and all these things to try and get gigs at places, because that's how hard it is to book gigs in this industry. To get good pay and stuff. It is tough. It takes good people to get behind you, and I've been very blessed to have people who believed in me to do that. So I 100% am just thankful to be doing this, and thankful to have all those people behind me.
Well, man, that's great to have, for sure. I'm hoping I can make it up to St. Louis on March the 3rd for that show at Tim's place. I haven't been to his place yet. I hate to admit that, but I hadn't been there yet.
Well, if you make it up, I got a jar of barbecue sauce waiting on you.
All right. And it won't do any good for me to try to steal 3 Rangers, because, I'll bring it home. I'd sure share it with you. But you guys go check John out. You can catch him at all the streaming services. You can get him on his website, johneasonmusic.com. And if you're going to be anywhere near where he's going to be, then you definitely want to go check him out. He's got his shows up on his website. And if he's not close to where you're at, let him know and he'll see about getting in there. How's that?
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, y'all have a great night, and we'll see you back here on Monday. John, we'll talk to you later.
All right. Sounds good.
All righty.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to follow b4Nashville on all social media and listen wherever you get your podcast. Tune in again for another country star of tomorrow on b4Nashville with George Davis. I'm Kevin Casey on behalf of Worldwide Pants. Have a great night.